Hi friends, and welcome back to Gardening Suburbia. My name is Amanda and I'm a gardener here in Zone 6 in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I really don't know that I have a plan for this video other than I just want to give a little more background on myself and why it is I'm doing what I'm doing here on YouTube. About 4 years ago, it was actually in 2020, my boyfriend and I moved into this house here. It is a rental house and it comes with all of the flaws. We have a pretty good sized backyard, and I knew as soon as we moved onto this property, when we were talking to her about potentially moving here, the thing that drew me in the most was this backyard. So before I lived here, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, pretty in the city, and we're still in the city. We have a giant apartment complex pretty close by. You can hear some kids playing in the background, I'm sure. And while we were talking to our landlord, before she was our landlord, the thing that drew us in was this backyard. So there was so much space, so much potential for all of the things that I wanted to grow. I knew I wanted a garden. Before moving here, I had a bunch of tiny, like those little 1-inch terracotta pots. I got some seed starting things from Target or something at their little dollar spot, the little section right before you get into the main part of the store where they have cheaper items. They had some daisies, some roses, there was one other, I just can't remember what it was. And I grew those tiny little terracotta seed starters in my windowsill because I couldn't really grow anything outside. Although I did have a neighbor that did that. But I wasn't quite in that headspace yet. Plus, I wanted something that was pretty much my own. So growing up, my uncle had a garden. He always grew a bunch of red tomatoes, cucumbers, and radishes. I remember the radishes because I used to try them whenever I'd come over. My cousin Josh would tell me to pluck one or pull one out of the ground and try it, and I would try one, and every time I couldn't. I honestly, I don't think I have a single radish growing in this garden. I've grown them in the past. I think I did the French breakfast, which is a 25-day variety, very fast, easy, smaller variety. It's just not for me. At least maybe it was just the growing season. I probably will try it again. I think your taste buds change every 7 years or something. So my uncle had a garden. My mom grew a lot of rose bushes, violas, just those annual plants to stick in the front garden. And she always had a rose bush at every single house she went to. But beyond that, at least growing up, no one grew a garden. Now, my biggest inspiration comes from my sister. My sister, at her first house, put in this really cool garden. Her husband helped her put it in. And she had a hilled backyard. And so they built their garden a step style into the hill. And so she had, I think, 3 or 4 different levels so that she could grow a garden. And then she recently moved into a new house. And I actually do want to do kind of a new, a segment, I guess, on this channel where I go and tour friends' gardens, because every garden is just so different. People garden in so many different styles. They grow so many different things. I don't have radishes, but you may have a ton of radishes in your garden, or maybe you don't grow flowers and you really plan and have a strict planting schedule and harvesting schedule, and you're really on top of it. My garden is so crazy, and it's honestly what I love about it because it's so true to nature. It's just wild and free, and I get to sit in my garden and just watch how the plants kind of vine around one another. This guy, my loofah is stretching, and it has these little curly cues I will show you. Look at these guys. It has the little tendrils that are just falling, and they look so freaking pretty. And they're just grasping onto whatever they can, like this guy. It's wrapped around this weed. Like I said, I just have weeds in my garden, and it's okay. There's so much craziness in my garden, but I absolutely love it. There are times where I get kind of overwhelmed with it. Like this area. This area is very nice, and like it needs some covering on the ground. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do about mulch, or something to keep the soil covered, because some of my beds are kind of bare. But the garden is just crazy, and I love it. There is just so much beauty and little bugs to watch and see what they do and how they work with the plants. So since moving to this property, my first season, I just had the 2 concrete beds here next to me. And they were filled with daylilies, which are no longer blooming. I have one bloom. I have one little bloom. They've had their time. I had no idea what was in those beds when I got here. I just started yanking them out because I was going to plant some tomatoes. And along the way, I let a few just kind of go crazy, and I realized they were daylilies. And that's the thing about gardening that I think a lot of people get discouraged about, is that they think that they can't grow things and that it's too hard, too difficult, there's too much information. I really believe it just takes time, patience. I like to say I'm a very patient person. I love listening to people talk and hearing what they have to say, which is funny that this is the thing that I've chosen to do, is do YouTube, where I just talk to you guys, because typically I'm the person that listens to others as they talk, but gardening, it's all about patience. You got to take a step back and just kind of like take in the plants, take in all the bugs. Right now, the mosquitoes here in my area are going crazy. This time of year gets to the point where like I'll come outside to do something and I really like, full heart want to finish it. But the mosquitoes just love to bite me so much that I get so itchy everywhere, and it overstimulates me to the point that I need to go inside and like rinse off. But last year, I actually traded some sourdough starter with another lady that I was vending with, and she gave me, it's Anthos Apothecary. I'm gonna go grab it real fast. Anthos Botanica. This lady created this beautiful plant-based formula for mosquito repellent. I've also heard, well, first off, this stuff works phenomenal. It smells very citronelly. Smells a lot like citronella. Has eucalyptus, lemon, and I'm sitting outside and I have 0 mosquitoes on me. There's literally a mosquito flying around you guys right now. You just saw it on the screen. So I have loved this. This has worked really well. My boyfriend always complains about getting eaten up, which this worked for him too. But I've also heard of people using vanilla extract, which I make my own vanilla extract, and that would be, I think, a fun try, because it smells nice and it's just vanilla beans and some alcohol. So by doing YouTube, I feel like it's really helped me to kind of come into my own and realize where I want to be in life, but also who I want people to see me as. Not like I'm trying to like put a weird fake person in front of you, just like my authentic self. I love the garden. I love planting plants. I love growing cool, unique varieties, and being able to cook with really fresh, wholesome ingredients that I know how they were treated, if they were treated with anything, which I don't typically use anything on my stuff unless it is all natural. And just being able to come outside and like have my own like secret haven. Like right now I'm under my trellis. It has my loofahs and my black beans, and it feels like its own like little secret space. I'm surrounded by all these beautiful plants that I started from seed, which is wild. All of this garden fit into like, I could fit it in my hands, with a few exceptions. I did get some plants from some local greenhouses, but the majority of this came from seeds that I started. And just being able to like experiment and try new things, try different foods that I never had. This year I'm actually gonna get some eggplants. I had so many eggplants this year that I'm gonna be flooded with eggplants very soon. But there is a recipe from Roots and Refuge. The Farmer's Table, I think, is her second channel. She has a baba ganoush recipe, and I don't know how many times I've heard her talk about it, and it being an eggplant based recipe. I am just excited to try it because I'm gonna have enough eggplant for it. But that's the cool thing. I get to try new cool varieties that I otherwise would not be able to, unless I went to, like Whole Foods or some specialty store, or even to like a farmer's market. It's not to say that I don't have plants that fail. I have so many plants around me right now that I can like look at and be like, yep, that's dying, or I'm not really sure what's happening with that, or I need to take care of that really soon. So this year, well, practically every year that I've ever planted pumpkins, the pumpkins have just been utterly demolished by squirrels. It doesn't matter what I do. I honestly, I almost want to try putting out a scarecrow. I don't know if that will actually work with the squirrels, or if they'll just, know what it is. Maybe the rubber snakes. I've seen people put rubber snakes in their garden. Although I might scare myself with the rubber snake because I have snakes in my garden. There is this hummingbird, and it's on my Rose of Sharon, which I know as soon as I turn this camera around, it's gonna fly away. Maybe I'll try. I've been seeing that thing all over the place, and every time I turn the camera around, it like zooms away, which, I mean, that's kind of what they do, but it's really cool to kind of like, it's really cool to build up an ecosystem. So this being the 4th year of actually planting a garden in this space. Now, it's grown exponentially every single year. And it's not because I have tons of money. I don't. I'm a full-time green cleaning maid, and I work for my sister. She is a small business owner, and she really is someone I look up to so much. So it's not that I'm made of money. I am just very crafty. So a couple of my beds have been built with, so my garlic bed from this past year was built with brick, and the brick actually came from my sister's house. She was very kind and gifted it to me. I loaded it all up into my sedan and drove it back here, and then unloaded it brick by brick. I don't have a wheelbarrow. I don't have anything to like maneuver things around my garden, which I think at some point it would be incredible to have a wheelbarrow because my back would thank me. But brick by brick, I built that bed. And then my wooden bed. My wooden bed was, they are, what size are they? 8 by 12 boards that I asked I went to Home Depot. I mapped it out. I knew exactly what size bed I would need, and I did it so that I only needed to buy 2 boards. So I had them cut it at the store because I knew what measurements I needed. And then I even still had to cut some of the stuff off. I don't have a jigsaw or table saw or nothing like that. I used a handsaw, a rusty old handsaw, and I handsawed those boards to be the right size, and then I built it on this slant, and I filled it with a bunch of tree branches and some other materials. Now, the most expensive part in any garden is the soil, which I don't even know what a good source of soil would be. Maybe just somewhere local that you can actually ask them where they source it from, to see if it's contaminated, because there's been a lot of people I've seen that have gotten contaminated soil. This year I used a cheap soil. It was on sale. It was at Meyer, I think. It was like the Star, can't even remember what the full name of it was, but it was a big bags. And I knew I had to fill my newer bed over there. Also, you built with materials that I got for free, besides the soil. It cost like $200 or something along those lines. And it was still the cheaper soil. Now, most of that bed was super stunted at the beginning of the season, and I was extremely worried that none of it was gonna grow, because that's actually my cut flower bed. Not that I'm selling cut flowers, but I do love to gift bouquets whenever we go to a friend's party or they're hosting. I just think you don't get a bouquet of flowers all the time, and I know how nice it is to receive them. So I want to be able to gift that to other people, especially when they're homegrown. People always smile when I tell them that I grew them. But all that to say is that I'm not made of money. I'm very crafty and like to use found materials. And I really am hoping that somewhere down the line, within 5 years or so, my boyfriend and I can find our forever home. We really would love to just be able to save up and find a place that we can call home until the end, which may mean that it's going to be a lot longer than that. Housing prices are crazy here in the States, which is why it's not a goal right now. It's a dream. It's a 5 to 10 year goal, not a immediate future goal. But having land, having a place that we can have cows, that we can have chickens, that we can have pigs. Now, to be realistic with myself, I'm an animal lover. I have always been an animal lover. My boyfriend, he's an animal lover. He doesn't even like killing the flies in the house. And one of my goals is to raise my own meat. And my boyfriend sees the value in that, having a source of good protein, something that you get to treat it like, you get to treat these animals with the utmost respect and give them a good place to live out their life that you can then go ahead and harvest. But being that I currently don't have any animals for that use, it could be that once we get to that part in our life, neither of us can do it. I know that there are companies that come out and do it for you, potentially. Either way, that is the dream. That dream may change. You never know what happens. But right now, I actually reached out to my sister. So I'm full-time with her, and I really want to be creating more content for you guys. There was a period where I was posting every other day, and it really felt like YouTube was pushing my content, and I could see that it was getting out there to more people. To the 635 of you that are 636 of you that are here on my channel, I just want to say thank you so much for subscribing. I realize that there are parts in our life where we find connection with certain people, and then sometimes the connection is just lost, and that is okay. I don't expect anyone to stay subscribed to my channel for, I don't expect it. I am extremely grateful every time I see another person, another individual somewhere around the world subscribing to my channel. Being someone that was always so extremely shy growing up, and it's something that I've really worked on. I mean, I can recall in high school telling my parents that I was going to try to be more confident and more outspoken and try to make more friends. And I did, but it wasn't like, it was an overnight change. It's still something that I work on. I get high anxiety in social situations, and I feel like my words just tangle in my mouth. So just again, thank you guys so much for being here. I just forgot what I was gonna say. So posting every other day, and then it kind of fell off. Well, I took a break because my grandmother on my mom's side passed, and I wanted to give myself time to kind of grieve that over. Which is, I still get hit or punched sometimes with those emotions. It's been, I think, about a month now, which is crazy. But I reached out to my sister, my boss, and I asked her if there was any way that I could have one day off every other week. Not as like a paid day off, like just one day off, and work less hours, which takes a toll, but I will scrounge if I have to, and make that day a dedicated day to doing research, to creating content that I feel proud about, and kind of scheduling that so I can get it out to you guys in kind of a uniform manner. YouTube likes consistency, and that break I took, I think, really just kind of halted things, which I needed the break. I needed that time. I wasn't gonna force myself to push through it. So here in the future, I will be having, I think, more consistent content. My goal really is to kind of put out content that is garden related, homesteading related. I love cooking. Cooking is a passion of mine that my dad kind of instilled into me when I was young. I was his sous chef at his house, whether that was just prepping veggies or getting plates out or washing some dishes. But my dad is someone who really got me to love cooking. My sister's the same way. So here is to a strong finish to 2024. We are halfway through the year, and this past week the weather feels like it has taken a turn, which is weird because it's not even August, and August is like one of those, it's the miserable month here in Ohio. It's when it's so hot, but like this whole summer has been extremely hot. But it's the middle of July, and it's time to start thinking about what I'll be putting in my garden for the fall. I think I'm going to be putting up that greenhouse that I got that was $20, and it's super cheap, and it's an Amazon greenhouse. I don't even know what brand it is. I think I might be putting that up in my backyard to see if I can do a winter garden with like some brassicas and other things that are put into that. There's so much. My phone is full of lists of projects, of ideas for reels, for YouTube shorts, for full-length videos, for cooking videos. I have recipes on recipes. I have so many ideas, and I feel like my time is just so limited to what I'm capable of doing. I work my 40-ish hours a week. I get home, it's dinner time, and then I just feel exhausted. And I want to be giving you guys full energy, not just half drained Amanda energy. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that video wasn't too rambly. I don't even know how long it's gonna be. But thank you guys so much for being here, for being a part of my journey. Let's sow some seeds and sow a legacy that we can be proud of. If you guys want to enjoy any of my other content, I'll go ahead and pop a video up here for you. I do more gardening stuff than just sitting in the garden and doing a talk. I'm going to try to get some more practice in with just talking to the camera. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.